I want to share this story with the person who has been struggling to find a job, the person who is kind of wondering about their purpose. Why are things taking so long? I want to encourage you with something that happened in my life. So, in 2020, I was finally in the place where I wanted to be in my career. My children, when they were younger, I always worked close to home. But when they got older, I was like, okay, I'm able to commute now and I can find a job that suits me better. I was, trying to climb the corporate ladder. And so I first got a job and I took a job lower than what I wanted as far as finances. Title I wasn't concerned about, but the financial part, we want to make money. But I took something lower than that. I took a role that I hadn't done in a while. It wasn't a management position, it was just, a regular job. And I was like, you know what, I'm fine. Even though I had a degree, I said, you know what, it doesn't even matter. I want to commute, not to say I'm commuting, but because I saw the potential for growth for myself and I knew the place that I was pretty stagnant. There was no room for me to go. There was no room for me to grow, I should say. And so, um, and just because you're in a management position, sometimes, like me personally, I just had this drive, I had this ambition. There was so much that I still wanted to do. And so, um, 20, 2018 is when I started this new job. And maybe 3 months later, they're like, you know what? We noticed that you had your degree. We look at the way you work really hard. How would you like to have a management position here? And I was like, okay, and they were talking about the pay and, promotion, different things like that. And I was like, okay, that's fine because, of course, I'm not going to turn it down, but I took it. And then 2019 came, and I started getting increasing roles, different things, learning different things, working closely with the financial analyst, the CFO. I'm in accounting. So, and when 2019, the end of it, 2020 came, I was like, yes, this is exactly where I want to be. And I heard the Lord telling me, this is not where I want you for now. And I was just, what do you mean? Like, Lord, I'm finally where I want to be. I'm finally moving up. I'm climbing the corporate ladder. I'm doing all these things. And then everything just started going down. And it's like, just because this is what I wanted, that's not what God wanted. So 2020 comes, a lot of things happening in my family, and I wasn't able to return to work. I had to stay home with my daughter. She was school age still at the time. And I was just like, man, I'm taking a step back. I don't want to do this. So then for the next, I'd say 3 years, I had no job. And when I say no job, no job, like I did little things here and there, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't the stability I wanted. And I was really frustrated. And so I applied everywhere. I applied for accounting things in my field. I applied for lower level positions. I applied to work at department stores. Like, I was really getting desperate. I would go to interviews. I'm like, okay, this is so promising. I'm going to get this job. I feel it. I feel it. And then nothing, no calls. Or I have a second interview, third interview, and then nothing. And I'm like, what is happening? And then I had to remember I had to trust God's timing. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, my job with my children was, as a mom, helping the children, being supportive for my husband, business in that respect. But I still wanted my own. And so 2023, I was really praying, like, Lord, what am I going to do? Um, I want to work. And so, even though I was doing different things, like I said, like odd jobs, I still was like not fulfilled because this is not what I dreamed for myself. And so I prayed and I asked the Lord what to do. And I said, you know what? I felt the Lord calling me to go back to school, get my master's degree. And so they had this accelerated program that if you had so many accounting courses, you could take this program, but you had to get it approved by the dean. It had to get approved by the board. And I was like, that's a lot to go through. But if I can get in this program, I can get my master's degree in 1 year. Like, who wouldn't want to do that instead of like a 3 to 5 year thing? And so I signed up to do that. And so they had something called Meet the Firm. Some of you might be aware of that. And it was about, I believe, 12 to 13 accounting firms that came to this Meet the Firms. And I remember being so excited, but give you a little background. 20, oh my gosh, I'm off. It was 2022, not 2023. 2023, I had my baby. So 2022, I started the program in 2022. My gosh, this time is just like flying. So anyway, I started the program in August of 2022. The Meet the Firms was September of 2022. And I remember that specifically because I had my very first chemo treatment. And I had boils on my legs. And I remember still trying to wear pantyhose, high heels with these boils. And I'm like itching, I'm hurting. And I'm like, but I'm determined to go to this Meet the Firms and try to get a possible career out of this. And so there are, like I said, 12 to 13 firms there. And I talked to all but two of them. And it was just because at that time I just didn't have it in me to do it anymore. One of them, I was like, absolutely no, I don't want to work there because they were kind of telling me about the company and what they do. And I was just like, oh, okay, it's just not for me. So I didn't give them my resume. I didn't do anything. I just left. I talked to a few firms and I was like, okay, sounds very promising. Gave them my resume. As I was walking to my car, one of the gentlemen ran out after me. He's like, you know, we talked with you, but you didn't give me your resume. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that I didn't do that. And so I talked to probably 10 firms that night. And I was talking to my advisor at school, and she said, oh my gosh, Meet the Firms is such an awesome event. Usually people get a job offer that day. And she said the worst case scenario, within 2 to 3 days, if you don't get a job offer, you'll get an internship, but you'll get something. 1 week later, I got absolutely nothing. And I'm like, man, you know, I'm in pain. I'm there. I'm trying to put on my happy face, like, oh, you know, yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, this is so sad. Why is this happening to me? I can't find anything. And so a week and a half later, 9 of the companies gave me interviews. And so some of them are like, you know, we want to see if you'd like to intern. And I'm like, that's fine. They're all paid internships and I'm all for it. You know, I'm trying to get my foot back into the corporate world. So this is perfect. I had the very first interview and they didn't want to talk about finances. And I was like, red flag. You cannot be an accounting firm where you are dealing with money and can't talk about money. So I knew that was not the place for me. So we were done. And the next one I had, they're like, okay, what do you think about interning? And they're like, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell you this, your gift will make room for you, okay? Just keep that in mind. Your gift will make room for you. What it is that God put on you is going to make room for you. And it doesn't happen right away. I had to go through this storm. So I had several interviews. like I said, 9 of the companies, one of them I disqualified because of the money situation. And it was, I had 6 more back to back within the week. And I had 2 more scheduled further out. Within that week, I got job offers for all 6 of them. Where the other 2, I just went ahead and canceled those interviews. And I said, Lord, let me make a decision with what I have. So I went from being turned down at every place to now I'm in a position where I'm able to finally turn something down. And I was like, wow, one of the companies I really wanted to work for, I was in the 1 percentile of people that they were looking for. And so that was a good feeling after so many, rejections and closed doors and no offers to having 6. And they were like, you know what took us so long with you? We didn't want you for an intern position. Each one offered me a permanent, full-time position. And they were just like, the interview, your energy, just so many things. This is what we want to offer. And I was just so honored because I went from so many closed doors to finally walking into what I wanted. And one of the biggest things was on the interview, instead of me being discouraged, like, oh, I don't know, I had so many missed opportunities, or I didn't get this, or I didn't get that. I was just like, you know what? Whatever God has for me is for me. I'm going to come. I'm going to show up. I deserve to be in this room. I know who I am. And if they want me, that's great. And if they don't, that's great too. God is still going to provide. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. My other video cut off on me, so it said my storage is full. Anyway, so prayed about the job. So this is part 2 to the other video. So I prayed and I asked the Lord, where am I supposed to go? Which job do you want me to go with? And they were like, if you can let us know as soon as possible. And so I was just really honest, and I said, I have a total of 6 offers right now, and I still have a few more interviews, but like I said, I ended up canceling those. And I said, I want to make a decision, but I need more time. And I asked if I could get a month to make the decision, because if I'm not working right now, I'm in school, it really didn't matter. And so not only that too, I'm still having chemo treatments, and I was just like, I need time to even figure out my life, And I remember praying and asking the Lord where to go, and he told me the name of the company. And so I told my husband, I asked him to pray with me. I was like, pray with me and let me know what the Lord says. I want to know if the Lord is going to confirm. And actually, I prayed that the Lord did confirm. I didn't want to make the wrong choice. And I don't even think it was a day, maybe 2 days max. My husband woke up and he was trying to pronounce a name. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, I was praying and this is the name the Lord gave me. And then he's like, I can't really pronounce it. So he started spelling it. And I said, what is that? And I started thinking, I said, oh, that's the company the Lord told me. And he said, that's who God said I should go with. And I was like, okay, amen, confirmation. And so I just kind of explained the situation to them. I declined the other offers. But what I want to say is we have to trust God's timing, because when I was really trying to find work and when I was willing to settle and just take whatever, the Lord wasn't allowing me to do that. Yes, he was still meeting my needs. Yes, he was still doing everything. Yes, I was taken care of, but I kept trying to do it in my own power, in my own strength, and it just was not God's time. And even after that, still, I finished the master's program in less than 1 year, mind you. Even some of my professors were like, it's impossible, even though it is an accelerated program. It's very rare that it's been done. They said they can only count maybe once, and it was some years back that it was done. And I was like, yeah, I'm determined. I'm going to get this done. And on top of having, chemo treatments, on top of going through what I was going through medically, And then finding out at 7.5 months pregnant that I was about to have a baby. I walked the stage pregnant. I was determined. I said, nothing is going to stop me. I'm going to do this. And when you have a made up mind to do something, you are unstoppable. And I started the job and I loved it, and I have my baby, and I'm just like, okay, wow, things are falling into place. But again, we have to pray about what is it that God wants us to do. And I didn't even stay there long, but it was because I was just going through so much. But what I want to share with you guys, because I'm just really giving you the whole thing here. Um, what did God want me to do? Was He saying for me to go back to work? Even though I'm trying to build this career for myself, even though I'm trying to climb the corporate ladder, I keep putting myself in a place, and God is like, no, I like to use you here. I have other avenues for you. I have other things I need you to do. So even though God opened the door and He let me see, like, yeah, you went through some rejection for a bit, but now I'm going to show you it's time. Favor is on you. My hand is on you. And it wasn't that it wasn't then, but in disobedience, it's not. So God is showing you that His hand is on you, and you might be trying to do something, and God is like, I want you to do something else. And He keeps trying to get your attention to something else. And yes, He'll give you opportunities for other things, but things work perfectly when you do what it is that's in God's plan for you. So I just want to encourage you, if you've been struggling trying to find something or what to start or what to do, really get before God. You know, maybe you are supposed to be a caregiver. Maybe your job as mother is your job. Or maybe you are supposed to be a good wife. Maybe your job is to care for your elderly parents, you know, and you're trying to chase things that have, you know, tangible money. And God is like, no, I've called you to encourage. I've called you to uplift. I've called you to restore. I've called you to pray. I've called you for this. And yeah, we want things that are going to bring in the big money. But God is like, I'm going to take care of you when you do it my way, when you do the things I'm asking you to do. So I just want to share that with you. And this is kind of long, so but thanks for bearing with me. Thank you also for liking the videos, for sharing the videos, for commenting, for subscribing. You guys are awesome, and you make just sharing this so much easier. And I'm just so grateful for you, and I'm grateful for what God is going to do in your life. So be blessed, be encouraged, have a wonderful day.